people start to get used to it and
Well,
don't
he's got
notice it
50%.
anymore.
He's got what, 20? I mean, he's got a good chunk of the shares.
You know they have some other
Microsoft's pony on their
sites that
ability to
already
update.
have more
Yeah, that was
uh,
interesting. I guess it makes sense.
People who,
Yeah,
who
that's
think
a
they
pretty
know everything,
cemented
and
partnership.
those of us that
Oh,
don't.
yeah. I think it's probably less, probably
might
the worst
have that.
partnership for
I couldn't
Dell with
resist this
Microsoft
one. I'm walking
nowadays.
through,
Yeah.
and I'm not gonna buy anything.
Well,
ever.
that was
I
one of the
like
questions. I was
Microsoft,
listening to the
fine.
story this morning. That was
Be
one of the
nice.
questions. Because they're going to be a private
I bought
company, you
sure.
would think they're going to take advantage of all the things
Well,
private
they know
companies
they
do,
do.
which is make some riskier ventures, move into new markets,
They
that maybe
some of
corporate
their
shareholder
easels make some of the
reports
best
don't
laptops.
kind of frown on, right? So they're going to push more into the tablet market. You think there's going to be
They
a
got no
Dell service
choice.
tablet?
their own,
I seem to remember
there's
somebody
Microsoft's gonna
said
see on the
was
board.
that day
There's
that I
gonna be
was
some
there.
conditions.
Okay. So they're going to turn into Microsoft's hardware.
They might have to.
Yeah.
Oh, they're reasoning to get stuff to make a dog toy.
Who makes the Surface tablet right now?
You know what makes good dog toys?
I don't know who they could make it
Not
for.
Samsung.
Yarn rope.
Cats.
It's a really small dog.
Apparently they're going to be in Best Buys here.
Yeah, but small dogs usually
The three
aren't
cats.
big, so they're having some problems with them. I don't know if they're gonna be as
Yet
common as
somehow,
they could be.
despite the dog being not much larger than the three cats
Covers are
in the house,
fraying. You only get
Manages
half storage
to
space. But I don't
chase the
understand.
cat
They can
around
fix
sometimes.
that simply.
Well, I know, but
My
remember,
wife's
their
dog.
big thing is the
wife's
integration with
dog.
existing Microsoft products.
He's
So they can
7.5
sell,
pounds.
if they can set it up so
Rabbits
it
are bigger
integrates
than him.
great with your current Windows
When-
desktop
when
and
we
your
first got
Xbox.
him,
No, I mean, but the
he'd go
space
outside and
problems.
play with the baby rabbits.
I know,
You
but
watch, he chased them and
You
they
can't,
chased
you
him.
know, their big thing is
And they did this
it's
for a
not
while.
going to be, they're never going to be
Now,
able to compete with
he
Android
goes out there
tablets on
and pretends to be
memory
vicious.
and processor and
Yeah.
storage, right? They've
As
got
he
to
goes
separate
running towards
themselves
the
with
rabbits,
this Microsoft
rabbits will
specific.
stay there
So if that's that
until
good,
he gets within about 2
it won't
feet.
matter if it's half the
And then
storage
they'll
or.
run, or
No, but you're paying for
they'll
the
watch and
storage.
they'll notice he's gonna go right by.
Oh,
You-
I did
you're
remember
getting-
that.
You're getting a 64 gig one.
But it's only like 29 usable or something.
Yeah.
I know.
All they have to do for that is put a micro SD card out.
Remember,
Use the
stuck
software
straight
to
up.
write it
Again,
out.
the remote,
He
I
doesn't
mean,
see.
ask any
He'll go-
iPad owner
he actually
how much
went
storage is
within
in their
3 feet
iPad.
of one day.
99%
I watched
right
him
ahead.
Well, the nice thing
go
with
off
the
like
nice thing with the iPads
No.
is you get
Towards
by
one
new
of
one
the corners
more
of the yard.
storage. You want at least the
Rabbits
set
sat
micro
there.
SD card.
I know, but the
Then
point
he-
is,
after he
nobody
ran to the
cares.
corner,
Yeah,
like
but not
chasing
half of
something
it's
that
not
wasn't
gone.
there. Kind of walked around for a
How many
little bit.
store- okay,
There's a couple
you-
class
you don't
action
care.
lawsuits going on.
You know what I mean, though.
Yeah.
No,
Starts
not very many
eating,
people
just watch
are
it.
worried about how much storage
Takes
space
bites.
is
I'm
on
like,
their device.
really?
Because it's all
Really?
The cloud.
Was this a wild rabbit
So
or
if
a fat
Microsoft
rabbit?
can make
Wild.
that work, you know, if they can realize
No,
the
I,
whole digital
I wish he
ecosystem
was
that they
vicious
started
enough to
with the
get rid of the
Xbox
rabbits out
12
of my
years
yard,
ago.
because I've got about
This
220
could,
square
that would
foot
be a
garden
nice
space.
thing too.
And invariably,
Looks like nice
my
power
pepper
works. It's just,
They leave the tomatoes alone.
I don't know.
So it's a big-
Oh, it's just
Peppers?
too expensive. I mean, it's like
Pepper, sweet
But-
peppers,
More than
jalapeno,
Is it really?
serrano.
I understand the
thought it was
sweet peppers, but why the hot ones? Aren't
Ugh.
isn't the capsaicin supposed to scare the
Linux things to
thing
know
away?
slash try.
Yes, primarily the
As
plant. So
Maria
then I
TV
put stuff
one
around it to get it up high,
Maria DB's
and
not
then
that
they'll
much
start
different
nibbling
than
on the
mine,
peppers.
Well, that's the whole
that
point, right? It's
sit
supposed
back.
to be this little bit of
That's all I can think of.
So what's the
I know birds
contract,
like peppers.
That's what I did to be able to get
Right
the
now,
because they
again.
eat it down to the nut.
Oh,
on the
yeah.
ground.
Oh,
It's
my God,
just
it's
this little stub.
Yeah.
So this year I did
We had a
that.
conference call today.
Accidentally killed one
Line
of
up
them.
speakers.
Wasn't too upset.
Fewer tracks,
Yeah.
more specific content.
I gotta talk to Rogers about the
Well,
breakfast.
I don't have to worry about pests so much because I grow my peppers indoors. Not that many of them, but
He comes, my guess.
I
I get one every month or two.
Probably
Tomatoes,
probably
peppers,
free.
Cucumbers.
Uh,
I got
So then
I
it's
got
up
about
to Nugent or
220
what,
square foot of
a
space.
little bit for
I
me.
fill it.
It's just,
It flows out and over into the yard too.
You know how it is. But it's time to just figure out,
love
try to do
salsa.
some research a couple
And this
times.
year
Yeah.
we did
See if any of them turn out.
So we did bread, butter, pickles, we did.
It's good that you got your chance
both.
to-
It turned out really well.
So talk to the guys at Info at all?
I had lunch with
I
George
ate
today.
a whole
Yeah? I'm sure.
jar of bread.
He's in the Union Keys house though.
He pinged us the other day looking for a, what was it, Cisco ASA 5000, is that right?
Yeah.
Some little firewall, is that right? George looking for a firewall device. He wanted to mess
Who
around.
wants one?
George Neal.
I've got one.
Fred. Oh, do you really?
They can have it.
Oh, I might, okay.
It's not a 5,000, it's a 506. Is that what he's looking for?
I don't remember Tom, I don't
I
know. But
think I don't know.
it's good friends of ours. He used to work for me at AIM. He's a, well, what is he at Info?
Well,
He's
it's
at
not
Info.
ASA, it's a PIX. It's the
The
pre
senior
It's
software.
a pre, okay.
Senior software developer.
Thank you, senior software developer.
He can have it.
Okay, I'll let him know. That's great.
He just said he wanted to mess around. Increase his
Figure out what he's gonna do when he grows up, I suppose. He's getting closer and closer.
I joked and I said, "Well, your kid's breaking through your squid firewall or your squid proxy at home or what?"
You heard what his boy did.
Plain. Educational use.
Grabbed the MAC address and we got. You have to ask George. It's a great story.
Hey.
He caught him.
If the kids are smart enough to get around your security measures, they deserve to get around your security measures. That's how I feel.
How?
You didn't hear me say that, Sam.
That's all.
Or neither did you go.
I don't even.
They're smart enough to
You
get
said
around
just
your
wasted
security
my
measures.
time.
They're
He's
not
getting
smart
mine.
enough to not get a virus.
So.
Yeah.
You have him set it
Get
up
up,
and
sorry.
give you the password, right?
You can search for, if you can search for Tor, then you can probably figure it out.
You know, I don't use Tor. Hamachi, though. I like Hamachi.
Hamachi. I have not used Tor either. I've read about it. All right, it is past the 6:30 time. Welcome everybody to the what is this? February 2013 OLED meeting. In scenic Omaha, Nebraska. My name is Adam Hayter, standing in for our erstwhile John Larson, who is on vacation of all things.
I thought you didn't give them vacation.
Well, he snuck this one under my radar.
Got it.
He's out for the week.
All right, I mean, I hope he has a wonderful time.
I hope you have a wonderful time, John. If you're watching this, turn it off, dude. Come on.
Yeah.
The
Supposed to
highly
be on-
unlikely event.
In the highly unlikely event you're watching this, please turn it off. So, the topic for this evening, as you can see on the board here, 13 for 13, and we have the lovely and talented Aaron Grothe. Speaker extraordinaire, database guy, all-around guru on the technology scene. Hey, you want to do the quiz bowl again at Infotech this year?
Sure.
It's going to be a lunch thing during the lunch session. We're going to make
So
it bigger.
will Team Red Panda be able to be reunited?
That is a good question, and we'll see. We'll see if we'll
Team
put
Red
the
Panda
teams
would
back
like
together.
slaps more people around.
As long as it's another hour of you and me arguing, I think everything will be grand. That is my one announcement for tonight. The 2013 Infotech Conference is coming up here in April. Infotech, infotech.org is the website. We're finalizing, putting together all of the speakers and everything, but it should be a pretty good show. And
It was last year.
yep. We're streamlining the tracks a little bit. We're trying to do fewer tracks, better content. We had 8 tracks last year. We only have 5 this year. So
That's why you didn't invite me. I appreciate it.
that's why Craig isn't speaking this year. No, I'm not even.
They killed the whole track to get rid of you.
Yeah. Okay, so this is usually the part where John talks about interesting things that are going on in the Linux world. Does anybody have any interesting things going on in the Linux world that they want to share?
There's WordPress class coming up.
There is indeed. Thank you, Craig. Look at that, Craig. It's like I planted you there. AIM has started hosting a WordPress user group in Omaha. We have a 2-day boot camp coming up at the end of February right here in this lovely room. So it's put together by one of our admins. Actually, Michael Mittler, he's on SBAM. Still runs SBAM. So if you're interested in WordPress, take a look at that.
What are the dates on it?
It is February 21 and 22. Actually, I lied. It's at the UNO Thompson Alumni Center. I did not know that. AIM member price $325 for 2 full days. That's pretty good. That's not bad. Cool. So that should be fun. We were talking earlier. Michael Dell is in the final stages of taking his company private again. That's not specifically Linux news, although it'd be interesting considering now that Microsoft is one of the big partners. They'll still be offering Ubuntu on some of their laptops after this whole thing goes through. So I think that's interesting. You know, the whole future of the PC hardware business is a little bit in doubt. Obviously, Dell has been the biggest player in that. They're interested in going private. I mean, I think for the same reasons that most companies are interested in going private. They want a little more autonomy. They don't want to be so beholden to the quarterly stockholders report. They want to do a few more fun things maybe. So what new fields are they going to branch out into? I don't know. You know, you'd think they're probably going to have to embrace the whole tablet or maybe even phone thing pretty hard. That seems to be the way
Because
everything's
the phone
going.
worked so well for a last time.
That's right. They were, I mean, does anybody remember Dell had one of the first PDAs available? Remember this back in the day, pre-Palm? They had one of the first Windows PDAs available.
I have an Axiom.
They have been, there you go. They have been
Axiom,
early pioneers in some of this
The
stuff.
Dell Streak, their
The
phone system.
Streak, yeah.
I had a Newton.
God, you are old. Wow.
Oh.
That kid still
that's recorded.
You didn't have a new?
No, I'm afraid I
Oh,
didn't.
come on.
I Commodore 64. That's my
computer?
Yes.
It's luggable.
It was
Yeah.
unluggable, yeah. It was a
Luggable.
suitcase. Had a little handle that came up, and you literally carried it like a suitcase. Keyboard folded right on the front, a 4-inch screen, 1541.
That's why his right arm is slightly longer than his left.
I was
still
8 years
to this
old.
day.
Weighed more than you.
Carried it way more than I did, probably, yeah.
I am
did.
so glad computers got smaller.
I gotta take apart a Compact Plus recently.
A what?
Compact Plus.
Oh, I remember those.
If computers had not gotten smaller, I would not have brought this with me.
We're gonna talk about old stuff. We'll just go
Computers
downstairs to the
I've
computer
got more
museum and
power
stuff.
here than it needed that luggable
And,
in my phone.
But could you play Impossible Mission?
Probably.
The other big news, I think, is that Fedora and SUSE made the announcement that they are going to be ditching MySQL in their next versions, major versions of their operating system, for the MariaDB, which is a fork of MySQL done by the original MySQL authors before MySQL AB bought them out, and then they were summarily purchased by Sun, which was purchased by Oracle. So I actually read a really interesting email that one of the Oracle MySQL devs sent to the Fedora mailing list, basically saying, you shouldn't be doing this, you should stick with MySQL, and here's why. It was actually pretty well written, and it was all about, we've made all these improvements and support and blah, 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 blah. And apparently Fedora and SUSE didn't give a crap because
Well,
they unanimously decided to drop it.
Part of it comes down to the security vulnerabilities or not doing the full disclosure stuff like they used to do.
Right. And that's been the
MySQL is
biggest-
started, is
Right.
pulling the test cases. Pulling the
That's
test
right.
cases is the major deal.
That's right. That's the biggest complaint that people have against Oracle is that they're making it a much more closed system. Example I heard was there was a 0-day back in August. MariaDB had a fix out within 24 hours, and I believe MySQL is still vulnerable.
Any day.
It's switching now.
6 or 7 days. And there are other alternatives for MySQL if you're interested in that. MariaDB aims to be literally a drop-in replacement, as in you won't even know you're not using MySQL. Binary compatibility, all the same front-end tools, it'll just work. Now, I have no personal experience in that, but it'll just work. There was another one that I read about that was interesting. I can't remember the name of it now, but it was another fork that was designed specifically.
Drizzle.
Thank you, Drizzle. Designed specifically for web apps and for the high volume caching type systems that a lot of people are honestly using MySQL for. And so some of the comments I read were, if they had to make a decision, are we going to optimize this for, X number of concurrent connections versus 4X number, we're going to go with the higher end one. Maybe at the expense of some other functionality on here, or I don't know what specifically, but the point they were making was that if you want to run some big distributed web environment where you've got a lot of instances and all this sort of sharing across systems, and maybe this is the one you want to go with. If you want 100% MySQL compatibility with maybe some of the more enterprise features that have come along in MySQL 5, then stick with Maria. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Especially with some of the stuff I've read about MySQL, and I would assume MariaDB then, MySQL 6, which is, I don't know when the TA for that is, but it's supposedly having some of these NoSQL type features that a lot of people have been very excited about, on the Cassandras of the world and the MongoDBs and things like that. So
Isn't that what ORM's for?
I don't know.
You mentioned the Samsung boot vulnerability.
I am not familiar with that. Tell me about that.
If you install some of the new Samsung laptops, if you install Ubuntu on them, you'll fry the BIOS to turn into a brick.
Not only that, if you
You'll
run a
brick the
live
box.
Yeah.
CD on it.
On
it
which
will
Or
one?
you
really-
boot off a USB device because the UEFI has a problem.
Yep.
It'll brick it.
It'll brick it.
It
Which
bricks it
computer
hard.
gets bricked by this?
Samsung.
Some of the new Samsung.
Some of their newer laptops, the UEFI. They thought it was to do with secure boot, but it's not secure boot, it's something else. There's supposed to be a fix in the latest, greatest Ubuntu stuff, but definitely be aware of it if you do it.
Well, it's not really an Ubuntu issue, though, is it? I mean, it's a UEFI.
Ubuntu is what's blowing up, though. I mean, you boot Ubuntu off a USB stick, you now
So
have a
whatever
very
it is
expensive
they're
brick.
doing.
Once it loads the module, it fries the internal firmware. And without a firmware, very few laptops go very far, unless you throw them.
That's really interesting. I didn't know.
Yeah, so I mean, it's definitely one to be aware of.
Huh.
No reason not to go with Samsung.
I guess.
Either that or bring a live CD, a USB, and
She just walk around stores and
boot
do
it
it.
into the store.
Stores do it. Hey, will you just boot to those things?
Well, one guy said he fried two of his machines trying to figure out what the problem was.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, ow.
At least he stopped with two. It's like, hey.
That's like the old Chernobyl virus that used to flash your, put flashing on. All All right. Well, that's all I got. Unless anybody has any other exciting news coming out. Otherwise, I will turn the floor over to Mr. Aaron Grimm.
Hey. So this is just a quick 13 for 13. It's just a lightweight, breezy little thing to go through some things. Hopefully you guys like it. So, that's what I just said. I've already given John the presentation, so all the links should be up on the website.
Cool.
Actually, he gave me a URL for it, so you'll melt to the list. Yeah, if you had any questions, comments, OLUG is always pretty open, so please go ahead and ask them during the process. If there's something else that's similar that you think might be useful, go ahead and mention it. Hopefully it'll be interactive and productive. Well, I'll take one of them, either one.
Pick one.
So Alien, how many people have used Alien?
All right.
Excellent. Alien.
That's still under active development?
No, it doesn't need to be.
Oh, okay.
It works.
Fair
I
enough.
mean, it still exists in its current matter. What Alien will do is it will take a package from one distro and do horrible things to it to get it to work on your other distro.
Do unspeakable things.
They are some of them are pretty disturbing.
Got a suspended background.
Actually, I need to be root for this. So I've grabbed a quick package, Pengu Pop, which is actually this isn't too bad little game. I've converted already to a Debian package. So if you look at Alien, the options are great. It'll convert from RPM. It'll convert to RPM, to LSB, Linux Standard Base.
What is
to
an LSB package?
Linux Standard Base. It's an RPM package defined. It's supposed to be LSB is supposed to be a package that will install on any LSB compliant distro, which
Okay,
is Red
so it
Hat
is
or
RPM.
Debian. Yeah.
Okay. That's what I wonder.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's like a new package format.
No,
it's just an LSB standardized RPM.
Yeah. But it will
Oh,
install
okay.
on a Debian machine if you have the LSB extension installed. It'll go to other things. It was supposed to be it was an attempt with a standards body. It's had some ups and some downs.
Interesting.
It'll actually.
So if I want to install something and it has an LSB package, I can install that.
Yeah.
Oh, as opposed to like a native package for your distro or something.
If
there's
you have
an
an LSB package, you can definitely.
If you have an LSB compliant distro.
Yeah.
Like Linux Mint.
Which is pretty much anything
Which
big.
pretty much anything major ones, yeah.
If you can find LSB stuff, which a lot of stuff they just ship it to you in RPM.
Right.
Well, I can't use
RPM world.
RPM.
Yeah. For better.
Well,
for
if you're
worse,
using
it's
LSB, you are
worse.
using RPM. LSB is RPM underneath, but it's a subset of it and stuff like that.
Interesting.
One of the things I love about this, if you see there's an option on there, --2 SLP.
The old Stampede Linux.
Stampede Linux. How many people know what Stampede
Oh my
Linux is?
God, that's got to be
Stampede
10. That's got to be
Linux.
10 years old at least, isn't it?
It was. I remember I went to the
Isn't it?
Linux Expo out in Moscone, and they're actually talking about Stampede Linux. And Stampede Linux gave away T-shirts, and the T-shirts were the whole word, Red Hat. And there was a whole big fight whether or not people should be allowed to wear profanity like this. And since Red Hat was one of the major sponsors, the Stampede Linux people were such ginormous special people. I mean, actually, the reason why we have Gen 2 today is because they were so mean to Daniel Robbins that he actually left Stampede to go off and found Gen 2. That's how there's never been a group as self-satisfied as that.
Wow, that's saying something in Linux.
I know, they stood out. But it's an amazing thing in its own right.
And they're long gone, huh?
I have not heard of them, anything from them in 8, 9 years at least. Once they lost Robbins, they lost a lot of stuff too. They had a couple cool ideas, but their main thing was F Red Hat, which will only carry you
Well,
so
and
far.
their own package, man. That's how I heard of them. Because forever it was RPM and Dev.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden SLP, what the heck? Where'd that come from?
Well, TGZ like a man.
Well, of course.
But so no, you can use
That
this.
package should be in quotes after TGZ.
So the question is, why would you do this for a package? One of the reasons why is because it will show up inside your packages after that. Because right now, if I do dpackage -list,
Because this is Debian, right? You're
Yep.
on? Okay.
Debian 7.0, it's actually, I gotta say, I've been very impressed with it so far. It works, actually suspends everything correct on this laptop, which
Wow.
the M5030 has been a hard distro to love on.
And it's not 16 revs behind on all the
This was
packages like
Alien,
Debian is
right?
sort of known for.
What?
This is Alien, right?
This is dpackage. This is
I mean,
Debian.
The thing that you converted with.
Yeah. now I've got a package. I can do depackage.
Depackage-I will
Yeah.
install it.
Yeah.
Pengu Pop.
Of course, that's not going to work.
That's not gonna work.
Just to show it doesn't work.
Just to prove that it doesn't work. Oh, Fedora 18 package even. When did Fedora 18 come out?
When did Fedora 18 come out? I think the 15th of last month, and it drove me crazy.
What did you think of the installer of the Fedora?
You know,
18?
here's the thing.
The partitioning, I hate it.
It was odd. I mean, I ended up having to do a free clean install because it didn't want to update.
Really?
Yeah.
But
That's annoying.
other people said they didn't have issues. John posted saying he didn't have
Yeah, I
issues.
remember you went through the update.
Yeah, well, you can't use Anaconda to do the upgrades anymore. You have to use their new thing fed up. I did a fresh install, and I couldn't tell what it was going to do to my hard drive because it doesn't give any feedback anymore. It's like, give us some slices,
Borrowed some Ubuntu
and we're going to format your disk now. It's like, well, what are you going to do with it? Well, that's kind of not really your problem.
There is a way to look at it, but you have to like select expert partitioning and all that.
Yeah.
And I ended up redoing my grandmother's laptop, but only because Windows was getting so slow on it and she was complaining. So should have probably kept it, but access.
So, we've generated a Debian package now. So, we'll install it like a normal package.
And it handles all the dependencies and everything that you'd expect.
It depends on what the source package is.
Okay.
If it's, there's certain dependencies you can't figure out and stuff like that. You'll see in a couple seconds here how successful this is, to give you an idea.
So RPM, Dev, SLP, TGZ. Are there?
There's other package formats out there, but that's the only ones that are.
But those are the major ones, right?
I
What are
mean,
what are some of the other minor ones?
Well, you start doing e-builds for Gen 2.
Yeah, well, Gen
Arch
2
has got
is-
its own recipes. I mean, there's Sorcerer Linux, which is SourceMage out there, where everything is based on your grimoires and you casting spells to install packages.
Oh my god.
So now we have dash list.
It was Arch that I was thinking of that I knew had their own packaging system.
So we've got it installed now.
There you go.
This is awesome. Now we can run the thing, right? Yes.
Heck yeah. Pengu Pop.
Ah! Aliens. Aliens, you're a success. I was actually trying to find a package I would know would not be successful.
And you
And I tried to find a package that would be successful, and that's where I ran into a problem. The problem with this is I pulled this from Fedora 18, which is just out, and I'm running Debian testing, which is getting into a semi-free state because it's going to become stable here in about 4 to 12 years.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Let's be honest here, it's Debbie.
So, I'm screwed on this one, to be honest. I'm bummed out.
Because Fedora adopted a newer version of glibc than is available
Yeah.
on your Debian system. Okay.
But it goes back to the thing, if you do have to do this, obviously your mod is going to vary. Some will be successful, some won't.
Yeah.
But it does do the benefits of, it does show up inside your package management. You can do upgrades against it, you can do all that kind of stuff. And if it's a series of packages from a vendor you know, and they're not willing to support your distro, it's definitely a way to go with it.
Now that's interesting though, because you'd think the RPM would have said, hey, I require glibc 2.15. But
If
that
they
didn't get...
Some of that they don't, the original RPM probably doesn't list that because that's what it comes with. It's the base OS.
Oh, so it would just say I need glibc, it
You
wouldn't
don't
say the
list
version.
every dependency. You
Yeah, I
just list,
know,
like
but-
major ones.
That's a pretty major one. I think that would have
Yeah,
shown up in there.
success is pretty limited.
Okay.
But I've known people who've run it. I was talking to someone today about it actually who was using it to install some InfiniBand drivers into a system, and I was like, "How'd that work for you?" It didn't. So,
Under what OS?
Not so much.
he was doing it under Ubuntu, but but it was only the only packages available were the Red Hat ones.
So Ubuntu,
Right.
there's your problem.
Well, was he under 1204?
I didn't get that level of detail.
Well, you know what the issue is with a lot of the InfiniBand drivers? Tell him it's not supported in a 3.2 kernel. Go back to a 2.6 and you're golden.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, I found that out yesterday.
That's kind of a jump, isn't it?
Because they removed the big kernel lock.
Yeah. Speaking of kernels, do not use Alien for critical packages. If you install your kernel,
Like Pengu Pop.
no, Pengu Pop's not important to me. I was just hoping it kind of worked. But if you install the kernel, upgrade that through that path, you are boned. It's maybe not the second it boots, but about 3 or 4 after, it's gonna just go, never mind. But it can be a very useful tool for you in those situations, in certain situations. Cubes OS. How many people have heard of Cubes OS?
Everything.
All right, Cubes OS is a very, very cool. Years ago at DEF CON, there's this lady. I always forget her name. It's she's a very smart lady. She figured out the red pill stuff, which was you pretty much take a running operating system, Windows, run it inside on top of a virtualization layer, and then you of course can lie to it because you have full control of the hardware. And she was doing all this stuff based upon this, and it came out some amazing work. They founded a company which is doing something called Cubes OS. And Cubes OS takes Zen, and it turns it into a bunch of small virtual machines. So you got yourself a banking machine, a gaming machine, a browsing machine, and they each have a different colored border around them, like green for your general purpose one. Yeah.
Wasn't this listed on the Linux.com, on Linux.com or something? I think they mentioned it.
I wouldn't be surprised, but it's a very cool one. Unless they mention, I've mentioned this in the brass cert a long time ago. The problem I've had with this is I do not have any hardware in my entire house that will run this.
Wow.
It's based on Fedora. It comes down to it's like the whole secret sauce of what you're going to run it on. It's turning out to be a bit of a pain.
Just because it needs like the hardware virtualization that's built into newer CPUs?
I don't
or?
even know what the problem is. People say they have success, some people don't have success, but it sounds very cool. And of
Yeah.
course, since it's a virtualization package on top of virtualization, it won't let you run inside KVM or anything like that because it's attached to that. But let me show you a quick picture of what it looks like.
That's pretty cool.
It's very cool. If you have hardware,
So you
that'll
just have
run
a base OS, and then all your specific, it's almost like you have an OS per application, or per
Yeah.
use case.
Here's an example. See the green borders around, or the yellow in this case, the way it looks?
Yeah.
But you got different colored borders around the systems to tell you what it's doing.
And I suppose they can't talk to each other because the whole point of this
Exactly.
is security.
Well, you can do certain things with the clipboards and stuff by doing it, but it'll let you know about it. If you ever played around with the DoD style systems, there was all the BSN level systems that they would have different colored windows and stuff like that on it. But right now, this only runs Linux apps and the way it's designed. They're working on getting it running Windows stuff underneath it.
As a client under one of the VMs.
This is like beta 2 or something like that.
Huh.
But they've been doing it for a while. It's a very cool thing. What would really be kind of cool to see if somebody would try and do something like this with C groups or something like that. Try and make it more easier version to install and stuff.
C groups?
C groups.
What's that?
It's a like jails or rooting.
It's like
It's
rooting,
built
okay.
into newer Linux kernels. It's a lighter weight virtualization.
Oh.
It's more like OpenBZ and stuff like that. It's actually
Like-
pretty cool stuff.
Okay.
User mode Linux or something?
No, you're not actually running a separate kernel. You're just locking the process ID space and
More
stuff
like
like
a
that.
chroot.
It's really a chroot jail.
Okay.
But it's actually pretty cool in its own right.
Hmm.
But if you do have hardware that'll run it, or keep an eye on it as it gets more and more involved and stuff like that. But the idea of be able to rapidly provision and deprovision VMs to do your job, do parts of your work and stuff like that. Sounds good. Because the example being your VPN into your work thing, I would love to keep that totally separate from my home network. Even though I know it's just a VPN and stuff, I still would prefer them not be able to have any access to my thing. Or if you could rapidly fire one up, if you're gonna do PayPal or something like that, just be able to do that kind of stuff on that basis would be really kind of nice.
That's a neat idea.
It must use SDL for the graphics and stuff.
What?
Does it use SDL for the graphics then?
Actually, they've got some extensions to it. They still use X11. But that's what most of their changes are. They've released some of the code for it, and some of it still hasn't been released yet. Some of that stuff. They're still figuring out, but it's a pretty cool thing. If anybody does get it running, I would love to.
I'll see what I can do.
Yeah, well, if you get it running, I'd love to see. That'd be a great Nebraska cert cybersecurity forum thing.
Now just wait until they get it working on the Raspberry Pi.
Never had that. No VT extensions.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Good luck. Join Obutasky.
Linux from scratch.
Good old Linux from scratch.
Yes. How many people have built their own Linux? How many people have done Linux from scratch?
Oh my gosh, it's been years and years and years ago. It's been years.
Linux from scratch is a really great way to learn a lot about how to build a distro. There's Linux from scratch, Beyond Linux from scratch, Hard Linux from scratch, which actually is really cool because it has some nice ideas that they can apply to their places. There's Automated Linux from scratch. There's a couple other variations of it, stuff like that. What it comes down to is Linux from scratch. You have a live CD. You then partition some disk space, and you start building yourself a distro. And you go through the init scripts, go through building your kernel, rooting everything up, firing it all up, cross-compiling if you need to.
Compiling all your packages.
Yes. Well, they've got a lot of that's been...
All your base packages.
A lot of that's been simplified now. I mean, back in the old days, you had to have a running system, preferably Mandrake 7.2 at the time, and you copied over the init scripts and stuff like that. But they've come a long way with it now. But it's actually a really good way to learn about a lot of stuff. I mean, one of the better ways to learn about stuff is to actually try a harder kernel. I mean, a harder OS variant. I mean, that's really good for it. Gen 2 is really good for it because the e-builds, you will learn a lot through the process of that. Another one to really consider is Arch. A lot of people are really swearing by that and add that.
Yeah, but I heard Arch
Often in the same
work.
sentence.
It can be. It's a rolling release, so your stability varies from minute to minute. But it's actually really nice. It's got a lot of features I like about it. I mean, there's I've got a couple versions of it running on a couple VMs and stuff like that. But it runs. A lot of people like it. But I also still like Gen 2 a lot because Gen 2 was really nice because they supported Spark and stuff like that really well. Which when I was doing all the kernel stuff was really nice because you could cross-compile them. If you submit a patch saying it runs on x86 64, they go, well, it probably doesn't run something else. But you say it runs on x86 64, i83 86, and Spark, they're like, this guy obviously at least had some idea what he's doing, hopefully.
At least he tried.
It helps out a lot. But
Is that the last major distro? Is Arch the last, or Gen 2 the last major distro that still supports Spark? Do you know? I mean, obviously there's little ones that do.
There's still, I mean, Gen 2 does. I mean,
it does.
I think Arch still does. Arch may be working on it. There's always some guy doesn't have to let go. Recently they just enabled Debian running on the old PowerPC chips.
Oh my gosh.
Some of the older ones, stuff like that. They've got it back.
The MIPS based ones?
No, Motorola 68030s,
Oh,
stuff like that.
okay.
They've got it working on some of the old stuff. It's pretty impressive.
The doorstop that we have holding up the door. Those
Yes.
Macs.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, the generation after that.
I was gonna say that's the one before that.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right. Well, so not the fish tank Mac.
OpenSUSE build system. I've talked about this before in the past, but it is a very cool little system. OpenSUSE makes this available out of the goodness of their hearts. Let me show you a little bit of what it looks like.
Is this officially offered by SUSE, or is it?
Yes, they offer two varieties. They offer the free version, which you can upload your packages to, have built inside environment, and they also offer a version of it that you can actually download and run internally and do a continuous build system on. What it does, and here's where it gets very cool. Here's an example of a package called Frogger. And what they've done is they've built it for a variety of the SUSE packages. SUSE 11, OpenSUSE, 12.1, 12.2, factory, and it's broken for most of them right now. That's the way the packages work. But you look at what it does. Show me the results. There we go. Fails is always good. But it actually fires up a series of Zen machines, compiles it up. It'll actually build it for Fedora, Red Hat, a whole bunch of different distros as well. You can actually build Debian packages and stuff out of here as well. So if you have software you're building for your own personal use, and you want to make it available to other people, it works really well for this. And the nice thing about it is it runs on all the systems transparently, currently every time you do a continuous build. So it just gives you always, well, this package is going to break on this, it's not going to break on this. When I was playing around with that fighting game a while ago, that's what I was using to build this package on there.
Wow.
I wasn't going to log into it to see what the status of that was, because it's still building on those versions last I checked. But I forgot my password. I'm not going to do that over this network.
I don't recommend it.
So it gives you an idea of the OpenSUSE build package system, but it is really cool. There's also an OpenSUSE live CD builder as well, which you can actually pull packages from the OpenSUSE build system into that as part of your build.
SUSE Studio?
Yes. And you can build
By
all
Phil
that stuff as
Collins?
part of it as well.
SUSE Studio. That was too easy.
So it actually works really well for that, those components. So if you're building some packages around, or you want to create your own little distro, it's a very nice way to do it. Because it'll let you build it as a live CD, a USB, VMs, all sorts of stuff.
Imaging and I think.
Yeah. And you you can actually, if you actually do it right, you can actually remaster OpenSUSE now, and actually have it add these repositories as part of it as well, and you can actually have it install it. So it's very cool. SUSE makes it available. They of course want to sell you the commercial version of it, because they also offer the SUSE Studio. They also offer the commercial version of that as well. So.
And they offer I think it's just a Kiwi system that you can install on the computer.
Yeah.
To do it.
They do some very cool stuff with that.
That's pretty cool.
But if you're looking for something to play around with, that is a very.
Because they can just provision super fast those Zen instances
Yeah.
with all these different distros.
Yeah. They fire it up, build it for you every time you do a change, every time you want to do a thing, and it just queues them all of its jobs. So I mean, obviously it's not necessarily going to be interactive. Response time isn't going to be tremendous all the way, but they're using a lot of that infrastructure for OpenSUSE now too, and for this commercial version SUSE. That's the only reason why SUSE has almost as many packages as Debian sometimes. AutoKey.
Yes. Desktop automation, yeah.
Okay. AutoKey, if you use a keyboard automation package, it'll let you do macros and stuff like that. Yeah.
And it uses Python.
Yes. Let's take a look at it. I just built this laptop, so I'm not sure if I got everything working on it. Control. Was it Control Shift W? That wasn't the right one. See what I have that set to. AutoKey just died on me. That's never good. So, here's your little system. Right now, the only thing I have enabled on this one is the dates, which is a little insert. Just a little snippet of Python. It's Alt Control Shift W. Alt Control Shift W.
Alt control. Shit.
I didn't want to run into anything else. Alt Control Shift W. Date. Yay!
Huh.
So, it's all Python based. The examples are pretty well laid out.
Sweetness.
It has abbreviations, all sorts of components you can do on it. It isn't able to do the same level of stuff as like AutoIt can do, where you can actually make GUIs and stuff like that. But if you're looking for simple macros and extensions and stuff like that, it can definitely do it. There's a version of it, AutoKey GTK, which runs better with GTK, and AutoKey Q2, which runs great with KD. Yep.
So there are some GUI hooks into it then?
No.
No, you
it's pretty
can't
much text
automate button
expansion.
presses.
It can do timing and stuff like that though.
Oh, okay.
Actually, they do allow you to import other modules, so you could possibly import GTK if you wanted to do like.
Because you can do it. You should do it. No, but it's very cool. I mean, but if you're doing like, if you're doing form letters, programming stuff like that, if you're not, depends on how you do it. If you do, I mean, a lot of times when I'm doing stuff, I use VI macros. But AutoKey is actually a very cool system. It's a thing that a lot of people use. A lot of people swear by this stuff on Windows and Mac. There's Automator and a couple other ones like that.
You should see the Lifehacker articles on that.
Hotkey is.
Yeah, they love this stuff, but it definitely has a benefit to it. But it's a very cool thing. It's very easy to install. It runs pretty well with most of your stuff. And if you do have a lot of stuff in there, phrases and stuff like that, like AMS student is suing you for non-payment or whatever, just keep putting that in there, yes, or whatever the phrasing is. But it can do a whole bunch of stuff for you.
Do everything in Emacs. You can use a red mode.
Make one just to type institute. I misspell that 50 times a day.
If you use Emacs,
If you use Emacs, just shoot
What?
yourself.
But
So many other issues if you use Emacs.
Yeah, but you use Emacs. You can only use Emacs inside Emacs
Oh, that's
itself.
true.
This you can actually use inside any pretty much program you have. So you can use inside your email, all that kind of stuff, unless you're using Emacs for all that. Those components.
I've never actually used Emacs before.
What?
Smart guy.
You're not listening.
Emacs is amazing.
I've
You'll
read
have a
about
feel-
it, but I haven't actually
What-
used it.
It's a learning
Emacs
curve
is
the
a
size of the
frickin'
Matterhorn.
Exactly.
I was a
It's
wonderful.
damn
I was totally committed to Emacs until I went off to a military base, and I said, hey, they said, I mean, for the computer, it's like you need to edit some files. Like, where's Emacs? We don't have that. It's like time to learn VI.
Yeah.
Because VI will be everywhere,
VI is
regardless of whether you
everywhere.
want it
Or
to be there or
something
not.
like VI at least.
Yeah, Vim will be there, something will always be there. Emacs, a lot of people don't have that installed. And there's nothing like trying to go into the Pentagon and take a CD full of Emacs software so you can build Emacs, which you say it's going to take a week and a half. That never goes over as well as you like to think.
You'll get it done in a week and a half?
Well, the compilation will be done by then.
Oh, the compilation.
Yeah.
But
So, AutoKey is very cool.
Are we
It's-
gonna have to compile something?
but the
No,
on
it's
Sun and
security
stuff like
clearance,
that, a lot of the days you had to.
You'll get it
Emacs is
done in a
something.
decade.
Emacs is a big. It gets a lot of grief because it's a big app, and it's sort of grown.
OS.
It's almost it's grown.
Sounds
and
like
grown and
Windows.
grown. You can do so many.
It's the
you can-
MIT rule of software expansion.
Yeah, you can read your email in it. You can do use it. You
Play
can do
games
You can
in
do
it.
unbelievable things in it. Yeah.
Well, it has its own programming language, Lisp.
Yeah, it's got a
Amazing.
Lisp interpreter
Back
built
in the
into
day,
it.
though, Sun, it wasn't part of the Sun distribution. You had to install it separately after that, which required the GNU packages, all that stuff.
It was written by Richard Stallman.
I know.
It originally stood for 8 megabytes and growing.
8 megabytes and constantly swapping it.
Oh, there you go.
That's good.
The
Now
only
it's 800 megabytes.
That's a good.
the only reason I even know what Emacs is because of those two books that I read that were written by Richard Stallman.
Oh really?
A
Yeah.
lot of
There you
the
go.
GNU philosophy came out of that. But so AutoKey, very cool. Play around with it. It can speed some stuff up for you. If you do have repetitive tasks, it can do things for you.
Can you take any sequence of keys that you type and do something with it?
It's like, it has.
So if I type this weird string, then it'll automatically take out that string and put in much longer string?
Yeah, that's one of the core ideas behind
And
it.
is it available for Windows?
There's other programs that are similar to it. There's AutoIt, AutoHotkey, and a couple other ones like
Probably
that.
not that are programmable in Python though.
No, AutoIt
And
has.
that's the nice thing about
I
this
use a
one.
lot of templates before.
AutoIt has its own program language. It's
Right,
if
because
you're looking for something on Windows that can do everything, AutoIt is truly amazing. It has its own GUI development
That's
tool.
why you
It
can
has
CSH,
a version, custom version of SciTE. It is.
And it can automate button presses. It can watch for windows that pop up with certain names. You can use regular expression matching on all of it. It's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Alright.
Yeah, on Windows side, yeah.
There's a O'Reilly quick guide, which is awesome on that.
Mm.
Expect, auto expect.
Oh yeah.
So expect is a
Spec is
tickle,
awesome.
the way it's meant to be, for automating typical command line tasks on your system. Example given, you need to use FTP or FTP to send a file to the remote system. You need to run a variety of commands, some of which require user interaction, such as GPG. You can use it and expect to do this. Example being, GPG, you need to type in the password. It's designed not to let you unhook it from the console. Well, you don't want to do this all the time, so you want to unhook it from the console. Expect will let you do that. Expect has a basic thing is it has send, receive, time, waits, and it can do other components based upon that. So it can figure out whether something was successful, unsuccessful, and that kind of stuff. Auto expect is amazing because what it will do is it will monitor your session and will turn that into an expect script. Let me show you how that works.
That is pretty cool.
It is.
That's how we used to do our router backwards, using specs.
There you go.
And that's the date. So yeah. So auto expect. You don't provide it anything. It goes. Script is the exp. Let's do an ls. Let's do a who. Let's do ftp. ftp.kernel.org. Now, let's quit out of that. Let's close that shell. Now there's a file called script.exp. It goes through, generates a standard template at the top. You should really, when you do this with a script and it blows up, you'll start reading this as directions, but different output and stuff. It's really kind of useful to actually read these. But what it does is sets the timeout to wait forever, maximum max. If you look at the way it goes, it expects exact matches for things. You'll want to start replacing those with wildcard for the most part because you may not match up exactly.
Yeah, if you're in a different directory.
Yeah.
So there's your sends with the carriage returns and.
Yeah.
Huh.
It even has my backspaces, which is always so expects it to.
Huh.
It'll send it, then it'll back it up.
Yeah.
So obviously you don't want to just depend upon this. You want to use this as being your core. But you can actually it's a full. Expect is it's a whole. It's a programming language. So you can actually do a lot of advanced stuff with it. You can actually have this go out. You can combine this with expect and the auto expect script you write. You can call other scripts. But one of the things that people have automated in the past is going out and grabbing the most recent version of the kernel, downloading it, extracting it, building it, all these components, and doing all this stuff transparently overnight. There's other scripts that some people use called catch-up and stuff like that as well to keep the kernel up to date. But this stuff is actually, if you have badly written software you have to interact with, example being, let's say you have to do uploads to a bank. And the bank has a mainframe that they use for FTP, and you have to use something called Connect Direct. God help you if you do, because it's awesome. Like we're still recording. But it's a product, and you have to automate those components, and it's all still text-based. So what you're able to do is use this to do that. So auto expect just gets you a huge head start on figuring out what you want it to do. Expect is pretty straightforward. Extensions, tickle, variant, works pretty well. It will do a lot of things for you exactly as you tell it to do them. Remember, exactly as you tell it to do them, which can be very useful in its own ways. So.
Is there a Perl library for that now?
There's a everything library for it. There's a version of Python expect. There's Perl expect. There's a couple different implementations of it. The expect one is really nice because it has auto expect. The Python one, I don't think it has auto expect yet, which is kind of nice. But I mean, if you know what you want to do, obviously you're good with Python.
Exactly, if you tell something to do it, it's kind of the definition of a script, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, the matching and stuff like that is what's going to get you on it. The exact matching. Without the cards, once you replace it.
Yeah. So it's like Java and his case sensitive.
Yes. Depending on what you're talking to a mainframe that's not case sensitive, is not case sensitive. You're talking to whatever you're talking. It depends on what system you're running on, which one you're talking to.
Huh.
But that's what expect can do for you. DD rescue safe copy. What is the one problem with DD? I know you know this.
I don't even know what it is.
When it hits an error, it dies.
Disk-to-disk copy. It will copy a disk image from one machine to another machine. You should be using it.
I've done that. I'm at about 50% on the freezer.
Yes.
Yeah.
So DD rescue, DD by itself will copy an image from one place to another place. It's very useful if you build USB sticks, stuff like that. Before we started getting tools for it, you ended up using DD back in the day. So it's a very useful tool. The problem with DD is once it hits an error, you're done. Doesn't make any difference. Yes, it doesn't make any difference whether things are going well, things are going poorly, how well, how poorly. It's over, and you have at best, pathetic copy of the image, depending on where it's at. What DD rescue will do is it will just keep banging against that sector, hoping to get a valid image of it. And if it doesn't, what it will do is it's like, screw this, I'll come back later. And it will get you the rest of the data it can off the disk, and it will do it over and over and over again. So DD rescue can do a whole lot of stuff for you in that response. Normally what you do is you do a DD rescue as best you can before you start getting creative. That's when you normally start looking at things like the freezer, dry ice, stuff like this, sending it off and getting it. SpinRite doesn't work on all Linux.
It boots into its own. So
I've had moderate luck. DD rescue can do pretty much safe copy can do pretty much everything SpinRite will do for you, because it does a lot of the same things. What they do is they just keep banging against the sector, trying to get the information out of it, and put it together as much of the rest of the image as it can. They do a lot of the same things, but DD rescue has been around for a number of years. Safe copy I discovered when I was looking into this, but they're both really useful components.
okay.
But definitely, how much is SpinRite?
89
Yeah.
ish.
So as long as your drive will spin up,
Yeah.
Yeah.
your BIOS recognizes it, then
It'll try and pull the information off. And it does. Nice thing about safe copies, it'll do multiple passes. It does the first pass quickly. It just marks this sector bad, this sector's bad, this sector bad, and then you can start going back and just start banging against it, trying to do other components, and start running other options against it. And then you put the drive in the freezer, wrap it in the towel, trying to keep it from getting moist and stuff like that, and pull it back out. Or dump it in silica gel and put it in the freezer because you want to. But it gives you an attempt to try and pull more and more information off there.
What,
which
you have
is
to
cool.
pull the drive off to get air stuff off of it or something?
One of the things people do if you have physical errors with the drive is you can put it in a freezer overnight in a dry bag, and it will sometimes straighten the platters or something happens magically. It's just something that some people have had
You'll
luck
get
with.
one more
It's
read.
just
You'll get
something
one more
that-
read out of it.
It's
That a
one
physics
shot.
nerd would know.
It
Yeah.
works.
Yeah.
It works too.
Yeah, it does.
I
have
haven't
good
had
luck.
50% luck, but I've had it work
Yeah.
a couple times.
But
Enough that I try it every
Yeah.
time I'm in that
Out of
situation.
10 drives, I've been able to recover 5.
Dude, that's really good. Throw it in a Ziploc
Yeah,
bag,
it-
put it in the
it-
freezer, and
I had to
one
put a
more
towel
read.
underneath of them because they kind of dripped
No.
from condensation. Because I usually leave them in there overnight,
Yeah.
let them get good and hard. Yeah. They said as they
that's,
warm up, the
that's,
drip
more,
on
that's
the
enough
side.
information.
Dry ice works
Eli.
pretty good too, and it's faster.
It's faster.
Yes. And it's dry.
Sort of.
That's true. Drier.
Great thing.
Handle with care.
But let's take a quick look at
Do
the
not
options
touch
of
it with
safe
your
copy.
bare hands.
Kind of like cooking something at 500,000 degrees.
So safe copy will give you the.
And it just
run the
reads
sync
a-
multiple times.
Just reads a disk partition, not a file system. You'll give it like dev XDA1 or
Yeah.
something.
You can read off, read most of the data bad, using no retries, avoiding bad area, da da da. So what you do is you do a fast pass, more and more passes until you get as much out of you as you can. You can see the file you actually needed is one of the ones you got off it before it started getting really freaky.
If you have to do stuff like this, this will make you do backups on a regular basis.
This will teach
For a
you.
while, then you'll get over it.
And you get cocky. You get cocky again. Oh, what happened to me?
Not when you're looking at terabytes of data. It's just
Yeah.
like, God, help me.
So, but no, these are both really useful tools. If you do find yourself in a situation where you need it, it's nice to have, but hopefully you don't need
Does
it.
this work with RAID sets by chance?
Good question.
I don't know.
You pointed to like an MD0? Is that the
Yeah,
question? Or like part of a?
Actually, a hardware RAID.
Oh.
A hardware RAID, it might work with us. RAID 0, I mean,
MD0 probably
MD0, I don't think so.
I'm just curious because I actually had a machine that
If you did that, I
Could have
yeah,
needed. Could have used this.
I can still use. I'm
Oh,
still trying to
right.
figure out how I'm going to get the data out.
I'm thinking if you,
Huh.
I mean, what you'd probably be able to do is use that, and if you can find drives the same size, DD rescue the image to a new drive,
And then
put
stick it
it
back in
slide
the
in
RAID.
there, then see if that would work. I mean, trying to pull the information and put it together as a software RAID later on. But I mean, if you were trying to do a disk to disk type thing, I think you might be able to make that go. It depends on how much parity loss and stuff. It'd be an interesting experiment. I think it might work.
Might try it.
I will give you your money back. It doesn't work.
Refund on this lecture.
So, turnkey Linux. How many people know what turnkey Linux is?
Turnkey.
I do not.
Turnkey Linux
Very
is
uninformed.
a very simple thing. So, let's say you want to fire up, let's pick something goofy, Sencha. Come on. Sencha. Sencha is a framework for HTML5 mobile HTML5 web apps. What this will do is you can get a VM that's already built with it. This has all the standard VMs as well: Rails, primary domain controllers, LDAP, all sorts of stuff. Turnkey Linux does. The nice thing about this is you can either get the VM, ISO, OVF, OpenStack, OpenBSD, Zen, or you can actually deploy it directly from their system to the Amazon EC2 cloud. And it actually has, the way that these guys make money is they actually sell the backup services on top of the EC2 cloud. So you deploy to that, you can actually have a nice, very little script to back it up. Right now it's based on Debian 606. There's a 7 version that's coming out here, because 7's coming out someday. But it pulls all sorts of stuff.
So it's a Linux distro
It's a Debian distro.
that has all these like an IDE in it and all the libraries
It
and
depends.
everything you need.
It depends. They're all custom purpose. Throw me what's something that you
Well,
guys.
like this one. This
Yeah, Sencha. It'll be like what you need to be able to build it.
to do all this. Okay.
Yeah. So it usually comes with SSL support,
Okay.
PHP MyAdmin, user webmin. Those
Yeah.
kind
So
of
like a
things.
lamp. You want to do like a lamp stack one.
Oh yeah, they got
that.
LAMP. Actually, I've got installed in this box.
How about like a like a music editing station or a video editing station or stuff like that, or is this
They're
more
more
server-side
server
stuff?
based.
Okay.
The LAMP,
So-
got the LAMP side, they got the PostgreSQL stack.
Oh, okay.
WordPress, blah, blah.
There you go.
and all that.
Oh yeah, let's do a WordPress.
There you go.
Drupal.
They have,
Moodle, all
and of
those.
course the goofy like CodeIgniter, every PHP framework they have everyone in
Okay.
there. WordPress. So if you want to deploy WordPress for, let's say you had a class coming out, you could just easily grab this, deploy it as a VM, and it comes up with the base configurations already installed, ready to go. They tell you what the passwords are. Obviously, you change when you first log in.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. How big are they? Size varies depending upon which one they need, what it's doing. But most of them are pretty small. But default, what it comes up with is just the basics for networking, reboot, shutdown, quit, and it'll tell you what else you need to be able to, what the URLs are for it. For the LAMP, you got web, web shell, which is nice, of course. Webbin, PHP MyAdmin, SSH, SFTP, and the TKLA and BAM is their Turkey Linux backup and migration utility. So one of the things you can do is you can use this to move between versions of their stuff as it comes out. So it's kind of cool. And the nice thing about this, the package runs every night, runs security updates, all that kind of stuff against it. It's just all 6.06 based right now. It's got pretty good stuff in it. But whatever your goofy thing is, let's.
So if you still, okay, so if you have the EC2 cloud instance and you don't want to go through all the headache of setting up your own OS and doing that, you just go here and say, oh, I like that one.
Yep.
Put it to your EC2 cloud instance, deploys it,
Yep.
keeps it updated. You
Yeah.
pay them for a backup service.
Yeah, if you want to, or you can back it
Nice.
yourself.
So they have an own cloud image?
Oh, good question. Yeah.
I didn't
What?
see one.
Who else do they support other than EC2? They Rackspace.com, image support.
Well, they make it available. The formats. Let's take a look at
Yeah.
the formats available. But if you
That is cool. That's a good question though, because I mean Amazon
do
is sort of becoming
OpenStack.
de facto standard for anyone who thinks of cloud deployments, right?
But they
there's
do
lots of others.
But the backup they don't support. But you can deploy it as OpenStack is OpenStack image, so you can deploy it to Heroku or it'll support
Okay.
that. So you can,
That was what I was wondering. Yeah, I mean, because there are becoming standards now
Yeah.
for essentially. Well, I think it was APIs. I mean, to talk between these different cloud providers, right? So, OpenStack is one.
you can always deploy as the little ISO if you need to.
I never worked with it.
OpenStack loves you.
Frustrating.
Really?
Yeah.
Just because it's
Just
just
frustrating.
early or?
Not well documented.
No.
But I was playing around with something a while ago, and I just grabbed the LAMP stack because I just wanted to do a quick build of something. I didn't want to go out in the process of grabbing Debian, installing it,
Right.
da-da-da-da.
Doing
That's
the
freaking cool.
Have to get up.
Yeah.
That is a neat idea, isn't it?
But the one of the things they have in there is kind of cool is the SDKs for Google App Engine, Jenkins, continuous integration. They also do Track, which if you've ever been,
Jesus Christ! Don't even
yes,
talk about Track.
you've had Track. You have the look of someone who's been tracked. Track
We
installs
just actually
are-
rolled out our new updated version last Friday.
So it's like here only, not all the way to here.
It works.
Track is very
It was a
rough
little
sometimes.
problematic, but yeah.
But they have it pre-built, which is amazing component. And if you have a situation where you have a Zen active server, that kind of situation, or a VMware base, VMware vServer kind of thing set up, it's an easy, quick way to deploy stuff. Very cool little system.
That is it's a neat idea.
So they have the core there, so you can do your own.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're making any money off their support deal.
They haven't gone out of business yet, so.
You say what their primary thing is doing the backups on Amazon?
Yeah. They also do custom development as well, I believe, if you ask them nicely.
If you want some spin they don't have.
But they have a pretty active community, stuff like that. I was actually looking into trying to do one for one of the next ones we have coming up, Honeybee, but unfortunately Honeybee has been now kicked out of Debian 7.0, so I got to figure out what's going to take to get it back in there. Debian GNU Herd, GNU K FreeBSD.
The herd.
The Herd. So the Herd is what is actually supposed to be Linux. Back at the time, the Herd is the kernel that theoretically was going to be the kernel of the GNU operating system.
But Stallman took too long with it.
He's still working on it.
Still working. It's a work in progress.
Yeah. I mean,
they changed it to the version numbering because they knew they'd never get to one.
yeah. But one of the things about it is it is very cool. The images that are out there, you can get it running under KVM. I couldn't get it. It has the Debian installer on it, which is actually pretty cool. It looks like Debian, and it goes like Debian for a while, and it just bam, just beat you down to the thing. So GNU Herd, you're not going to get very far with that. I mean, you're limited in file size, limited in slice. The install notes are huge for it. It's like if you have I think they removed that, but it's interesting in its own right. But so that's one. So what you're running here is Debian with a different kernel underneath. Another option is you can run it with the FreeBSD kernel underneath this.
That's amazing.
It can really be kind of cool if you have if you want a different style desktop, you want a server that people can't hack into as easily and stuff like that. Because here, let me show you what it looks
Still
like.
the same GNU user space tools.
Here, let's take a look at
So
it.
yeah, how does that differ from straight up FreeBSD?
It's the Debian kernel space.
Debian kernel space.
It's the Debian userland space.
Debian user space, okay.
Come on.
But again, the Debian user space is pretty much just like the GNU tools and
Yeah.
whatever your X.
But here's what it looks like. Whoa, this looks just like Debian 606.
Yes, matter of fact, it
Oh,
does.
it is. Let's see, apt get. Oh, let's do a depackage -- list.
So
Hey!
it's Debian.
It's Debian until you do this. sbin ifconfig. Emo, not eth0.
Okay.
All this stuff has changed in the internals.
You do a uname -n.
FreeBSD.
There you go.
And here's another one that'll be nice. So you have a lot of scripts written for stuff. The first disk slice is dev ad0s1.
Sacrilege.
Yes. But the thing about it is, if someone tries to launch an attack against the system, they had better have figured out what it is, especially if you use system. You can actually have the system lie about what it is at the firewall level stuff. But all the regular standard Debian utilities are available. It is a Debian system. There are a couple caveats. Chrome isn't going to be on here because Chrome does not doesn't work well with non-Intel Linux-based systems right now. But it can do almost anything you want to do with it. So if you want to play around with things,
Not even Chromium?
Chromium, nope. I installed it and it says there is no Chromium. Because if you do, let's take a look. Grep Crom. So install Chromium, the transitional dubbing package, and the arcade style side scroller. But it will not install real Chrome.
Okay.
But this is just running inside of VM. But the thing is, it was a standard Debian installer. This is 606. This is Debian 606 at the user space level. But anybody who metasploits against this or does anything else at that level is going to have a really interesting day. But
Or does the Nmap OS detection and assumes it's going to be Linux and it answers it or responds
It depends. Well, you have to adjust
that's
some of
the
that.
number,
Some will figure out what it is FreeBSD, some are smart enough to figure that out. But it just comes down to being a different way to do things. And also, it's really nice because it does force you to do things differently. So if you let's take a look at Frog. Frog's still there.
Pretty cool. Michael liked this. I'll have to show it to him.
But it runs surprisingly well. I was running this on my iBook, my PowerPC old G4, which I was running for a long time, and then it started having problems with the drivers and stuff like that. I mean, obviously the driver support is you're using the FreeBSD kernel, so if you're thinking, hey, this runs great on Linux, the Linux kernel, well, it may not run great with that kernel.
Yeah.
But it's a very cool thing in its own right.
Huh.
But it's very cool. But Debian GNU herd is going to, I had an instance running of that, and now I don't. So let's just put it that way. There's a whole set of notes on how it works.
Before you scoff too much at the herd, remember, Linux started out pretty small as
There's
well.
not going to be anything in it.
And there's no reason to, there's nothing bad with having multiple choices
Yeah.
for
But
your
it's-
underlying kernel.
There's
Nothing wrong
also,
with that.
Arch has a version of KFreeBSD as well. And there's
Really?
a project out there, I don't know how active it is right now, to actually get the Minix kernel running underneath Debian. Well, Minix is a very small kernel, which comes back to the whole thing. If you're looking like embedded systems, stuff like that, Minix has its own thing. Right now, Minix is starting to pull in the NetBSD user space. But if you pull it inside the Debian user space, which is superior, it's just not.
Well, it's so,
we
much,
can all,
it's so much bigger.
Yeah, we can all bash the NetBSD guys. It's all right. But there's so few of them.
Both of them. Yeah.
There's actually there's a cadre of them in Iowa State. They're very
Really?
They're very strongly in favor of it there. And they do a lot of good development stuff for it there. But it's something different to try. Give it a spin. You'll learn some stuff. You'll learn why your scripts don't work. It's kind of nice because you write scripts and stuff like that make assumptions. It will beat you down pretty hard on it and stuff. But some stuff works, some stuff doesn't. But it's cool. Systrace. This is not the Systrace that is the performance monitoring utility under Android. This is Systrace will let you write policies that will lock down where stuff can run. Example being, almost in some ways like a Chroot type jail situation. What you do is you will say, you can access file A, file B, file C. That's it. You can write to this file, you can do this, you can do that component. And it really allows you to create very fine grained policies. One of the reasons why you want to do this is because you have an app you cannot control, you cannot have the source for, that you know is insecure. You want to be able to limit the potential damage it can cause. There's one thing to keep in mind. Systrace has had its own security vulnerabilities in the past, which has bit it in the butt really hard.
Oh, the irony.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Systrace is very cool and it's all right. It's available as you can run it as a user space thing using ptrace, which monitors all the calls, or you can run it as part of. There's a kernel module as well that works with it. I haven't played with Systrace in a while yet, but it can do some very cool stuff. It lets you lock down FTPs, all that kind of stuff. So if you do have stuff running on the internet, it can do a lot of stuff for you there. So definitely take a look at it.
How does this compare to SE Linux? Because this seems like the way you described it seems very
Yeah.
similar to what SE
There's a
Linux
very-
was created for.
We'll take a look.
Am I not? How does it differ?
Hey,
It
Linux
works.
works.
Am I not wrong? Is this like in the same universe as SE Linux?
It predates SE Linux, but
Okay.
Okay.
But one of the things being,
But still, it has policies. It's per
it's
process.
got a graphical
Right.
interface. You can dynamically build up your policies while you're running. So you can actually run your application. It'll pop up going, you want to do this. It does it on, you can actually like lock down your browser, stuff like that for it.
So why did the DoD have to go and create SE Linux if this was already available and could do all the same things?
Because SE Linux is good. SE Linux is based upon labels and stuff like that. This is based upon system calls. It doesn't understand as much about file system. And generally the policies can be a pain in the butt.
For both?
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, I know for SE Linux.
yes. But here's a quick example of one of their policies. You permit it to read certain files, change certain directories, close certain stuff down. It's been played around with a lot of people used in the past. It can do some cool stuff for you. One of the things about
See,
it is,
this looks actually readable though,
yeah.
as
Yeah.
opposed to SE Linux.
Yeah, but you'll have thousands of lines for it. But the point is you have a policy for each and every program. You don't have a policy for the system. By default, SE Linux gives you a policy for the system, and then you write exceptions for various programs. This you have to write a policy for each program. If you don't have a policy by default,
All right, so it's
This
a
is-
little more like the app armor approach
yeah,
to
you're
locking
locking
down.
it down as opposed
Per
to
process as opposed to
Yeah.
I'm going to turn off everything and then you have to allow certain
Yeah.
things.
There's actually a version of this
Alright.
for, this is a big part of OpenBSD. If you dig into OpenBSD, they have a whole lot of information about this. There's actually was a version of this for Mac OS X, and then they said, I don't think so. But it can do some very cool stuff for you.
Who said I don't think so? Apple said I don't think so?
The developers from Systrace, because the
Oh.
guy who was doing it apparently went insane.
What?
I'm not saying
I
there's a
can see
direct
that.
correlation there, but no, he stopped supporting it because it just came down to being taking the amount of time. But Systrace can let you do things, but if you do need to run something that you are not sure about, there's also capability you can do things with browsers and stuff like that, which would be kind of interesting to do. You can do like an interactive sandbox, so you can have it pop up things like, hey, I'm trying to write a file to this location. Like, why the hell are you trying to do that? I didn't ask you to do that. You should not have a policy.
Oh,
to
it'll
do that.
notify you.
Yes.
Like when, oh, that's nice. Oh,
There's
okay.
there's some people talking about trying to do something like this with Android, which would be very cool. Because if you could actually have Android figure out exactly what it's doing, all those permissions it's asking for nowadays.
Now you can say, no, I don't want you to have that permission.
Well, another option would be along the lines of like, I want to lie to you about that permission.
Right.
Where are you? Where am I located at? I'm in Seattle. Let's pick a random place. Find me some nice places to shop near there, Google, and stuff like that. But it comes
I
back
want
to
to control the vibrator. Buzz?
No.
That's
more
Yeah, you
information than we need.
vibrated. No, you
Yeah.
didn't.
No kidding.
Have you
Maybe
seen
camera's
the
running.
the thing to be concerned about right now, actually, on Android tablets and phones, is the accelerometer. Because if you can actually monitor the accelerometer now, you can start figuring out what people are typing in for pins. They're getting like a 73% accuracy rate within like 12
Wow.
tries for certain pins and stuff like that. Because they can detect if it's a repeating one, because you have the same accelerometer properties. And think about how many games you've given accelerometer properties to.
Right. So they have a huge database to draw from.
Yeah, well, think about it. Well, this
Interesting.
can run a lot of these applications, you're giving it the ability to run the background, all this kind of stuff. And if you can do that, it just has to wait until something, hey, he's doing like something that looks like either a phone number, which in its own right could be useful, or looking for like a 4 or 5 digit pin. So, but Systrace, very cool. If you play around with OpenBSD, you'll find out There's two versions of it for Linux. There's the version that uses ptrace, which is a regular program, and there's a version that's a kernel module. Right now, it's kind of on the outs. It's because of the
I
policy.
think it about have to be a kernel module, don't you?
No, actually, you can do it all through ptrace. It doesn't actually have to. It can just trace your program as it's running. It's very cool in that respect.
Oh, okay, but it wouldn't be able to stop it then, though.
It can stop it
It can.
because you've given it has privilege.
All right, so
already.
it's like running as a daemon as root.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if it runs your program for you.
Oh.
It's saying,
okay.
run Firefox for me.
I
You control Firefox. But it can do some very cool stuff like that. It's a very cool little thing. I'd like to see something come back out. It's Niels Provost, I think, is the guy who's done most of this stuff on it.
So if nothing else, it's a hardcore version of strace that you can use to
It's
monitor
an interactive
exactly.
version of strace.
Thank
Yes.
you, an interactive. Yeah.
Yep.
It's pretty cool.
Might be useful.
Yes. Improving host security system calls. Yeah, Niels
Because I
Provost.
can't understand 9/10 of the crap that strace spits out.
Here's a quick example of how it's
That strace spits out. I don't know what the hell.
Here's one for Apache. Policy for that. So it locks down to bar www logs, Jones, what it can read. And once it tries to get outside this, you can either say stop running, restart, or ask me dynamically if I want to do it. So it's some cool stuff.
Can it slow your web server down?
Performance of it can be. I mean, you want to do.
No, I mean if you has to ask you.
Oh
every
yeah.
time you want to-
Well, you want to do that.
I gotta drive out to the data center again and hit enter.
Well, that's the way it used to be when you used to run Netscape with the SSL. You'd always ask you for the password for the damn thing.
Yep.
And
do you have any kind of anything kind of like auto expect? So you run
you can dynamically generate the policy.
No.
You can run the program, click OK until you get your set of privileges, then take that policy, which it will generate for you dynamically, and pick it up and
That's cool.
validate
Knock it
some of
down.
that.
That's
Yeah.
what's cool about it.
Yeah.
Now that is cool.
It's very cool. It's keep them on. There have been security things in the past. The development's still going forward on it. It's not going as fast, obviously, but it's a very cool thing. If you're doing research in computer science, it's not a bad thing to look into. Honeybee.
Not to be
Honeybee.
confused with.
What?
Not to be confused with.
Sunny D.
Or honeybee.
Oh God, no. Oh no. Oh no. It's on the Learning Channel, man. It's still
The learning.
All right. Honeybee is a very small program. What it lets you do is it lets you set up virtual.
I don't
It
think
lets
you can learn much from Honeybee.
But you can run the program. You can actually like take unused IP addresses on your network and fire up fake services. Like you can say, hey, put out a fake Microsoft Exchange server, a fake Microsoft IIS server, fake this, a fake that, fake that, and then you can actually have it keep track of all that information and email it back to you. So an example of how to use this would be to use this on your own local network. Find some unused IP addresses that people might be like snooping on, and fire up this thing. Well, you can use this in RV. You can take like one simple machine, like a KFreeBSD virtual machine, and you can have it take like 20, 30 IP addresses around vital machines. Then you can find what people are actually doing on your internal network. You can run this into the outside world as well, but you're going to find way too much crap. But if you run this on the internal network, you're going to find out what people are doing. It's like if someone starts running a scan. It's like, why the hell did you scan 10.10.10.10.10? There's no reason you should be doing that. Why are you doing that? And I noticed that after a little later, you scan 10.10.10.10.12, which .11 is our Oracle financial system between the two. So I'm kind of curious what you're scanning. And you can start figuring this information out. But the thing about this is you can do this with very few resources. It doesn't take a whole lot of power to run this thing. But it actually will fake it out to the point where you can actually type FTP Microsoft.com, and it will actually look like a little bit of the IIS FTP's program. So
Enough to fool a scanner, probably.
Well, enough to fool a person even
Oh, okay.
sometimes. So, but the thing is, it's a very small program in its own right. So
There's your Raspberry Pi implementation, Sam, right there. Start
Actually, that
deploying
would be-
these around the network.
Actually, it wouldn't be. Well, you don't need that many of them. You just need one.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing you might need to do is you need to work with your networking crew to figure out what's going on, to be able to put it on different VLANs and do stuff like that, hosting it was. But it gives you the capability. You can run this in the outside world. Some people do. There's a HoneyNet project, which does great work. But the thing is,
Or this is what they run. This is what HoneyNet runs.
These are the guys.
Oh,
This is
okay.
one of the things they develop. But you use just this. It will get you internal knowledge, which is the thing you really need is you need to find out what people are doing in your internal network. Because you
Someone could use this to find out that I'm on Minecraft.
No.
No?
No,
It
that
doesn't
would be.
monitor. It just.
It would know if you were actively scanning something on the network.
Yeah.
It monitors the IPs that it's set
It's
up.
not going to go out and actively look for things. It's
No.
going to monitor. It's going to sit there and I'm going to pretend that I'm an SSH server,
Yep.
and then if you start scanning me, I'm going to give you enough data to convince you that I really am an SSH server. But in reality, I'm going to log in and report it back to my admin to say, hey, this guy is scanning this at this time from this IP.
And you can actually pull out Nessus and stuff like that a little bit. There's the book, Network Security Hacks, 2nd edition. It's like a couple bucks on Amazon used. At page 400 through 410 is hack 119 is an example of how to set this up. Very nicely set up. But it gives you the capability to set something. What it does is this gets you something you can say, hey boss, I did something this week. Not that you spent a whole lot of time on it, but it gives you something you can actually have some benefit for. So it works out pretty well in that response. So it gives you something to fire up, it gives you some information. It also gives you the capability to figure out what's going on with some components. But the thing I say about it is since it does run as a series of just simple virtual hosts, it won't interfere with your network. It doesn't actually send traffic out. It's just sitting there waiting to listen to. So it shouldn't increase your network utilization and that kind of stuff.
Not unless someone's actually scanning it, in which case it's replying.
Yep. But I mean, the overall thing there is still probably pretty minor. Google Chrome Remote Desktop is the next one. I think this might be the last one, actually. This allows you to remotely control another computer. Pretty straightforward.
Of course, remote desktop then.
Yeah. You can generate an access code to allow remote administration of another person's computer. Example being my parents, or you control your own desktops.
This is a plugin. This is a plugin in the Chrome
Yeah,
store, right?
you install it
Okay.
through the Chrome. Let's take a look at it real quick. Chrome Remote Desktop already installed on mine. And here's the thing that's really nice about this. If you do a share, it'll generate access code good for this time. So if someone right now were to type in this access code, they could actually get control of this machine.
Anywhere on the planet, they
Yeah.
have this. They just type that code.
But
in.
only for
It
temporary amount of
connects
time?
you.
Yes.
You don't
For
have to
this
know the IP address. You don't have to have firewall
Yes.
settings. You don't have to do port forwarding. You just
No,
know that
don't.
code and you're
Connects
connected.
443 out to them.
Yeah, I know. That's pretty cool though.
Well,
That's just
here's
in
the other
browser.
component. You can control. This only works the the session stuff is the only part that works on Linux and other distros like that. But you can, there's a version of it for Windows that will actually let you register a PC with it. This is my home PC right now. And
Star.
011.
They're dots, not stars.
I've either got it
6,
backwards or
That would be enter LaTeX map mode / bullet exit LaTeX map mode.
Bullet points, that's what they are. They're bullet points, not stars.
So this is my home PC right now.
Good for you.
And it's running Chrome as well in order to be able to
Yep.
accept the connection. So you have to be logged in and running.
Actually, I don't think it has to run Chrome for this because it installs a package on it.
Oh, like you said, that's right.
Yeah.
Look at that. Windows 8.
So, you could use this to find out what software is running on that computer at the time?
Well, you
It's
can
a
log in and do
regular
whatever you
desktop.
want. You just our desktop, and you can
Yeah.
do whatever you want. Whatever you
Now,
want.
does that have to
So you can
have-
find out if somebody's like messing with your computer.
Yeah.
Cool.
Does that have to have the remote desktop stuff enabled? Or?
Yeah. I've registered this one with the.
Not the operating system remote desktop enabled.
No.
Okay.
It doesn't lock the
Completely
desktop
independent
like
of that.
Okay.
Remote desktop does, right?
No.
Oh,
You
good
have to know
question.
that pin and you
So
have
if I
to-
was sitting in front of your computer at home, I'd see the mouse move and all that,
Yeah.
like VNC. Okay.
You can fight
Okay.
for control of it.
Okay.
Or help your mother do something.
Yeah, I like that.
The other button on.
This one. It's right here.
You know, I really like
Actually,
TeamViewer
Mom let
for
me do
that.
it.
Well, I've got an app that I've.
Right, but again,
I've been
you
using
know,
for the last 4
you
years.
walk people through on the other end of the phone. Go to this website, download this, save it, run it.
That's why with my grandparents that have a high-speed internet connection, there is an icon on their desktop.
Yeah, there you go.
But so what this does, I mean, it just gives you a very simple way to do it, to do the remote access, stuff like that. So you do the session key. It's actually kind of useful if you just need to get somebody that's over the hump on something.
And you can move files back and forth.
I was just gonna ask that too. Can you do file transfer?
Don't think so.
Screen out.
I mean, you could use this to put a file into Dropbox, but it's still in beta. So this doesn't work with Linux. The I'm sure they'll let you drop stuff in your Google account eventually.
Well,
For
yeah, you
clipboard
can drop
stuff.
it in Google Drive and then pick it up
Yeah.
on your machine. It's an extra step, but.
Yeah, but if you're just trying to actually just get control, just trying to get your parents over over a stupid thing, or you just want them to be able to show you what their machine's saying because they're trying to read it to you over the phone and they're not reading it correctly, this gives you the ability to figure that out. And it's, from the standpoint of that, it's just a simple ones. It's like about 12 clicks on their side to install the app, the extension.
It's pretty handy.
But I still just be able to do the sharing the access is very nice. This is the last one. UNet booting. Everybody's used UNet booting, right?
Just used it last week.
Just use it today.
Excellent. So UNet booting lets you, let's do the simplest thing, and that's fire it up.
Huh. Doesn't then if you don't have root privileges.
Not gonna give a rip because I'm not gonna do the thing. But it lets you pretty much build a live USB for.
Assuming you can write to your USB.
There's versions for Windows
Yeah.
and Mac.
Yeah.
Which is kind of nice.
Actually, I like the Fedora Live USB creator better for doing Fedora systems.
Yeah.
But this works pretty well for about anything. Let's just create a quick USB stick for almost anything. You can also blow away your system very easily with it if you're not.
I like looking
If
through
you're
that.
not watching what you're
I
doing.
like looking through that just to see what some of those are. What the heck is Frugalware?
Frugalware is
Or
a sheet.
Geeksbox, yeah.
It's an Ubuntu that's designed, that's cut down to be working older machines.
Oh, okay.
It's very nice stuff.
Frugalware.
I'm guessing Geeksbox is probably for the Xbox.
No, Geeksbox was a very cool idea. It was like a 4 meg distro that did nothing. You would put it at the beginning and put a movie afterwards, and it would give you a live bootable system that would actually play a movie on your desktop.
Oh, cool.
Back in the day, so you could create like pretty much live DVDs, live CDs, and live DVDs of movies and stuff like that, and just give them out to people, or let kids build and fire their computer and just have them boot off
Say boot to
CD-ROM.
this and it'll play the movie.
And it just plays the movie, and it just usually stop and start. They've added some other more features like that though.
Neat idea.
But the one thing about Geekbox was at the time it was like one of the few distros that actually would build itself from source correctly if you actually asked it to. They actually had their whole environment set up correctly to actually build the things. One of the ones that had success with.
Kaspersky Rescue Disk one.
NT password just said that you're setting NT passwords, off track, rainbow tables.
Off track. That's
Slid tabs is actually a pretty cool one. Xpud, I don't know about that one. What is Zenwalk? I'm trying to remember. Is that Ubuntu based or is that Slack? Is that Slack?
Don't they give you info
No
if you
clue.
select one?
probably
That's
not.
what you're doing.
Wow.
Probably not. Oh, yeah.
It is Slackware based.
Slackware based distro featuring the XFCE, baby.
Password.
Some kiosk-like interface.
Slitaz actually is a very cool distro if you actually are looking for a very small one.
What is it?
Slitaz.
Slitaz.
It's like 30 some odd meg. It's unbelievable what it's able to pack in there. But they actually, one of the nice about it is it has the Razer QT desktop available for it. It's one of the ones that does for that.
The Razer T desktop.
Razer QT.
Oh, I
The
don't
Razer
know.
QT desktop is going to replace a big chunk of KD here in the next couple of years.
Oh, okay.
It's a very light version of it. It's kind of like Alex D is to GNOME is the it is,
Okay.
but it uses the QT stuff for its own components. But UNet booting,
It's not tied to X then, huh? This QT is,
it is.
can be independent. Well, QT
Well, it
can
could be.
independent.
It could be, but it uses X by default right now. But. So that's what UNet boot does for you. It's very useful. It's just navigate all the way if you're running a real distro. There's also the Mac OS X and the Linux version and the Windows and other versions available as well. One of the nice things about it is it gives you the persistent storage for the Ubuntu variants, which lets you do the stuff. If you're doing Fedora, you want persistent storage. You have to do use their live creator, which will let you create that. Keep in mind, if you do create a live USB stick, you do a Fedora update, and it's a big one, you're going to run over SpaceKit to be able to remerge the image on top of it and stuff. It's just great every now and then just to grab a new one. That's how it works. But that's what UNet boot does for you. That's what I have. That's my 12th one. So Anybody got any questions, any comments before we go through the rest? I'll point out the rest of just the links and stuff.
That turnkey one looked pretty cool.
It is. It's a very
Yeah.
well thought out
That's a
idea.
neat idea. Check that out.
The new K3BSD, you should give that a spin. That's pretty freaky.
I do have to ask, has anyone else heard of the Prey project?
What?
P-R-E-Y? P-R-A-Y?
Yeah, P-R-E-Y.
What do they do?
There's
It's,
Christian Linux history.
it's like,
There's a satanic version of it.
There's also every version of Ubuntu exists.
Wasn't that Intercessors of the Lamb?
but Prey project, it's like, oh, what is it? What's that? It's like LoJack but open source.
Oh. In case somebody walks away with your lappy.
I put the
That's
links
pretty
at the
cool.
end, so they'll be there when we need them.
Pretty much all implemented in a shell script, a few shell scripts too.
There you go.
And they have a premium web service.
Since we're
For
talking
Mac.
about
I actually learned some. How depressing.
It's not what you were here for, was it?
I heard a rumor that Omaha's on the short list as the next destination for Google Fiber.
Yeah.
I
What's
hope
Google
there's
Fiber?
I hope there's some truth to that. Google
I
Fiber
hope
is
there's
the rollout that Google did in Kansas City.
The
where
internet
they're offering-
provider?
They are the ISP for a significant part of Kansas City.
Gigabit to your house.
Gigabit to your house.
And
You
you
get a
get-
DVR box that can record 8 shows at once. You get crazy fast internet. You get a Google
How do their prices
TV
compare to
device.
Cox?
You pay a $300 installation fee, and then it's like $25 a month or
Yeah,
something
and
crazy.
it costs them about $1,400 to drop that. Between the fiber and the
Really?
CPE stuff.
It's crazy cheap.
I have to
I'd be
ask.
All the dishes over in Council Bluffs, where the Google plants are, they've spent the last 9 months or so putting in satellite dishes. They're getting in TV content and then shipping it to their Kansas City customers over internet.
You know, I have to ask this.
Cox could use a bit of
Do you get-
competition.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Do you get all the ports open or what with that?
That's a good question. I guess I don't know.
I don't think you can run, some of the guys were talking about that. It's kind of like policies that Cox have.
So no 80 and
125,
no 80 and no 25 or
443,
443.
Stuff like that.
You get
And
sometimes
of course you block the
Cox
135 to
internet could be,
139.
well,
Right. Yeah.
you know.
Now 445 now with CIFS.
Yeah.
Probably. I mean, that just
I
makes
would
sense
hope
from
so.
their standpoint.
There's also a rumor that CenturyLink is getting ready to roll out a high-speed option fiber.
No kidding.
Define high speed.
Faster than DSL.
Fast. Yeah.
Probably competing with Cox.
Huh.
If
Okay.
Google comes here, Cox is, they're gonna be hurt.
Cox is gonna.
Yeah, if Google comes, Cox is toast.
Yeah.
Well, just for anybody that does have Cox, rates are jumping in April.
Really?
3 to 5%.
Yeah.
For across the board,
Well,
phone, internet, TV,
that's-
the whole thing.
The lady wasn't supposed to say something when I
Yeah.
was talking about something else.
So let me guess, you called them and said, hey, these rates are high. You think they're high now, just wait a couple months.
Just give it to
Well,
April.
in a way,
These will be
yeah.
the good old days.
I got a call that said, we're gonna freeze your rate at your current rate. And I'm
You're
like,
like,
okay,
thanks
so
for
what's the catch? Well, if you cancel next month, it's $48 to cancel. The month after that, it's $2 less. And over the next 2 years, that cost drops. I'm like, what's it cost me? Doesn't cost you anything. Okay. I said, yes. Didn't see anything, nothing on the bill. Shows up on the bill and my rate jumped.
Really?
They had dropped my rate by 20% because I called and complained about something.
Oh.
They jumped my rate back up to the standard rate and then locked it in at that.
Oh.
I'm like, no, screw you.
Oh.
So,
So you paid the $48?
no, I'm like, I'm still within that 30 days and I never got any paperwork. I wanted to read about this and I never got anything.
They probably sent you an email to your account, or it's on a web page somewhere on their site where you have to be, you're agreeing to it by
Well,
default.
that's when the lady's like, well, you really don't want to cancel this. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to pay you. I'm going to go check out DirecTV and Dish. Well, you really don't want to cancel this because the rates are going up at 8. She backtracked kind of quick. I'm like, okay, thank you. So before April, I've got to find out another way to do this.
Nice.
That's all I got.
Thank you,
Aaron.
Aaron. Thank you very much.
Do you have cable?
That was good stuff.
Cable started watching,
What's that?
You get local TV that way?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I have an
put it
HD antenna,
up in your attic.
and I can pull,
We
what,
get
3 or 4 PBS channels.
Yeah,
and-
there's 23 channels total, something like that, right?
Really? So you
And
do
Fox,
follow
and
these?
the four
Free
four
PBS.
networks, and yeah, enough for local news.
Some stuff, you know.
And then I have a couple Roku boxes with Netflix
Yeah.
and TED Talks, and yeah, that's enough.
And all the pirated stuff you can handle, right?
And all the torrent sites I can download.
I started watching all the SNLs on Hulu, all 38 years.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Pretty busy
Yours
for a
are
while.
pretty rough.
I've been watching How It's Made
The Joe
and
Pesci
Dirty
season?
Jobs on.
No, the
my
first
Roku.
couple seasons,
It's
they
on
were
Prime
pretty
TV.
out there. They had the, was it the
I'm
camera?
finally getting to watch Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Never could find the time to get it.
All the Alfred Hitchcocks presents Twilight.
Let 'em
so-